Mel, everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey, everybody, Cantonese Cat here.
And Matt.
I was going to do a live stream, but apparently my internet is being taken over by the tracker virus, and it's been tracking all over, and I lost my live stream. And then Matt was on the background just saying, "Hey, we're scared, we're scared," So I figured, like, hey, you talking like you're free, so you want to just jump on a live stream together with me? And the answer is yes. He's always a yes man when it comes to publicly being, humiliated by me. So,
Good
yeah,
God,
you talk
choking.
now. What is it?
No, I said I'm choking. I'm
Oh, you're
choking on
choking.
my on my laughter.
I don't want anything to do with that. Yeah, that's not. Yeah, I'm not responsible for that. That's just your gag reflex. Anyway, here we are talking about Bitcoin. What are we talking about here? I just want to kick off here by sharing you a few things. First of all, and I was on the process of doing that, but then my internet got trackered. So here we go. I'm gonna turn on the volume here, and you can see that this is Coinbase. Who is selling Bitcoin today? Nobody. What about on Binance? Who's selling Bitcoin today? Nobody. What about on Kraken? Who's selling Bitcoin today? Oh no. Okay, yeah, here we go. Nobody besides the great Mattsby, So everybody is basically just holding on to their Bitcoin except for weak hands. There's really not much volume with this flush, and this flush has been extremely unimpressive so far when it comes to that. Usually, even on Binance, is giving you a little bit of a middle finger here with the volume, so it's really not that impressive here at all, right? But the price certainly got everybody scared. Now, what are we looking at here? We're looking at on the daily time frame. I have this GAN that I've been tracking here for quite some time. No, this is the weekly. I'm going to show you that later. This is the daily here. And I've been tracking this since really December of 2024. And it's been following my arc here pretty decently. And ever since it hit the 45-degree angle, dropped down underneath, there's been resistance up here. Broke through, back tested, wasn't able to hold, came back down to this level over here, the horizontal. Broke back above, came back tested, and go over here, failed. Guess where it's going to go? It's going to go down here. It just came down here today, right? On really not much volume over here, which is basically a logical move based on technical analysis. So we are at that level. We touched that level almost perfectly. So what are we talking about here? Well, if we're able to hold, it should go back up here and ride up along the 45-degree angle up here again, right? That's the logical thing to think about. The other thing too I was looking at was more looking at the weekly here. And basically what I was looking at, there are a few things I was looking at. One thing was if I just turned off my Gann chart over here, if we just simply look at Bitcoin, it's been extremely boring here for quite some time. And it's been boring here really on no volume here for quite some time, right? After it made this big move up and it's been consolidating sideways already for about 6 weeks, we've had not really much volatility here at all. So what needs to happen before we have a next move? Either a false move up and then we crash, or false move down and then we moon, right? Like that's generally really the two ways to kind of think about these kinds of things, because that's usually how market makers try and get you to do. They usually, on a bull market where you're making higher highs and higher lows, they generally don't try to flush you and then flush more. They generally try to give you a little bit, just like going to the casino. They give you a little bit of money. They're like, hey, this is you're using a slot machine. Here's $20, and next thing you know, you lose like 500. That's generally how it works. But right now, it's just been extremely like bearish on pretty much everybody on X, everybody on YouTube. It's more filled with bearish sentiment here when it's just been doing nothing on sideways here on low volume at support. I was talking about on a post on X yesterday how I thought that there was a good chance that Bitcoin might end up going up next week, right? How are we going to do that? Well, a couple things. Right now, one is that whenever price get a little bit too far away from the conversion and baseline of the Ichimoku cloud, it generally likes to wait for the conversion to get closer up to price before going up. or it could just drop down in price to meet the conversion line and then go up, right? Next week, the conversion line is going to be up. I think it's going to be around 102,000, somewhere around there. The reason why is because the blue line here is a range average of the top and the bottom. And right now we're counting candles number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? The bottom of the candle is all the way down here at 84,000, 85,000 actually. So if that candle next week's not going to get counted anymore, the range high is going to be the average between here and here, right? And I did the average for you between, and I have to use calculator even though I'm Cantonese, but 110, 111,000 plus 93,000 divided by 2, it's going to be 102. So the blue line next week is going to be up here. Now, there's always a chance where price drop underneath, and then you'll be like, oh, we lost support, and it's going to go down to the cloud, right? And then never mind, and Kenny's Kev's an idiot. Or there's a good chance if this thing shoots up like that next week, that's going to be a pretty decent support, right? And we needed these kind of little small flush out. Like, look at this. It's not even a flush. Like, Bitcoin did nothing. I think everybody got bearish just because altcoin just kept dropping when Bitcoin did nothing, right? That's what everybody is scared about. We're going to talk a little bit more about that tomorrow, but we can talk a little bit about that today. It's really just a meaningless kind of price action here for Bitcoin. So I'm not really that scared. The other thing too is I was looking through my GAN here. Again, this GAN chart here has also been pretty decent here for me, really since the end of last year. When I see that this arc over here was really good resistance, and it followed the angle to push up to the next arc here. By the time I got to the next arc, everybody was euphoric. I was like, no, it's going to take a while to push through, and it certainly did, right? We pushed through about the arc here. We backtested the arc here already. We have yet to really touch the angle until this week. This week we touched the angle, but it could go back down to a little bit further down to the arc. It would not surprise me at all if it does that, right? And because we've just kind of gone sideways over here, sometimes when you need to have a next move up, you need the volatility that is needed to shake out the weak hands before you can go up, right? Here, this is the volatility that was needed when everybody's calling for lower. This is the volatility that was needed to go up, right? This right here was the volatility that was needed around 49,000 for it to go up, right? This over here was the volatility that was needed when price dropped down to 38,000. Everybody was all scared before it goes up, right? This is the volatility that is needed before it goes up, and this is also the volatility that is needed. I remember this exactly around 20,000 here. That was the volatility that was required to go up when it was just simply touching the 20-week moving average. It was just kind of go up from there. So this kind of volatility is needed. Like if it drops down and shakes people out, that's fine. There's really nothing to get scared about here. The only thing I think people are just bitter about altcoins. But anyway, before I just keep yapping and yapping and yapping, because I can keep yapping for hours, you know that, Matt.
I want to show you my total chart because you're talking about the Ichimoku conversion line, the Tenkin, and look what happened. Look what it did. It finally touched it after it broke out in April and first backtest. So I think this is kind of like front running that move of Bitcoin right now, touching the Ichimoku conversion line before Bitcoin did. So this is a very good development in my opinion. And I think it's very, very healthy to do so, right? Wouldn't you agree, Kat?
I completely agree. Actually, it looks just like MicroStrategy.
Yeah.
You mentioned that.
Yeah, MicroStrategy did also close just like a couple pennies above its weekly conversion line as well. So this is looking like a breakout backtest, right? And you guys all know how much I love the broke backs, right? I love it so much. But let me the homo is going to come pretty soon, you know, so we got to prepare them in advance for that homo. Yeah.
Some would argue that it's already there, but yeah, keep going.
No, I mean the FOMO homo, not the homo, you know.
A little bit of both. It's really hard to distinguish between the two because when things go up, it's hard to, or when things go down, or when things go up and down. Anyway, please continue.
Yeah. Also, I want to show you my linear scale GAN chart for total as well. Just looking at it with no other indicators on here, and I want to just see what you guys see, right? See what you guys see. Like this has been a perfect map of of total, like resistance of that 45. It was a big zone here, a big zone. It was a breakout zone. It had a back test during that April flush, and it's a breakout, and maybe a little bit deeper of a back test down to the 3 trillion. We're not that far away, right? We're not that far away at all. So this is not a scary thing to me. This is showing to me that once this back test is completed, it's clear skies ahead. Right, that's what it's showing. 4.5 trillion, 5 trillion, and above. So this is a necessary process to go higher, just like this, a back test of the 45, a necessary process to go higher, right? And all of this consolidation along this blue angle here, all these back tests was a necessary process, and the arc right here, breakout back test, necessary process to go higher. So I cannot argue with this chart, even though I did create it. I created it without any bias, though. So I think it does have a very, very good chance of continuing its journey higher. And this is just proof that whoever's fudding crypto right now, I think they're mistaken. I think this is kind of showing a story that this is maybe one of the last opportunities to buy before something gigantic happens. This is what I feel like.
And you know how your feelings are usually leading to something either good or weird. So I like your feelings.
I think you feel the same way, though.
I do, and I was gonna go on like a solo live stream. I was gonna be like, I'm the only one who's feeling bullish.
You know that great Mattsby guy? Screw that guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
And then like this great Mattsby guy is like on here is, you know, I got my bells on. I'm here too. I'm also bullish. But anyway,
my bullish bills. Yeah. All right. I'll flip it. I'll flip it back to you. That's what I wanted to show in the meantime.
yeah, sure. Meanwhile, I think you're still busy transferring funds and trying to buy crypto. But
no, it already landed. I'm good.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, good. Well, I don't want to stop you from doing what you got to do. You know. But if you're also looking at a couple other things too, like again, I keep showing this over and over again. Bull markets don't end when you have the monthly conversion rate Tenkan just rising and serving as support in a stepwise fashion. It has been very, very much of a stepwise fashion on the way up here so far, barring everybody and getting everybody not euphoric, and which is probably why altcoins are kind of lagging. You know, so far Bitcoin has just kind of been unexciting on the way up, forming higher highs and higher lows when everybody's all scared. Everybody is not happy. And then they're even talking about how this over here looks just like how it did back in 2021, when in reality is a very, very different situation. Here you got a parabolic move all the way up here without any cool down. And as soon as the cool down is slammed all the way down to the baseline, was about to break underneath the baseline, had a little bit of exhaust to move up, and then just still couldn't hold the conversion line here at all during that top of that cycle. Here is a completely different morphology. You're riding the Tenkan or the conversion line up, kind of like how this bull cycle over here in 2015, 2017, you're just kind of riding the line up, except that it's not as parabolically pushing up here. It's just kind of, you know, lethargically making steps up, kind of like how I am when I go to do the Stairmasters at the gym, if I ever do that. So I am not really that scared here by Bitcoin. Now, meanwhile, Bitcoin obviously has been holding pretty well. Well, altcoins just kind of get completely destroyed, right? And SB, you mentioned on the stream last week with Luca how you were looking at this retracements here on the fib levels, and you're always talking about the 0.786 being a strong resistance level. And guess what? We are getting extremely close to it right now. What do you think about that? I'm going to do it Lucas style. What do you think about that, Matt?
I think this is the necessary catalyst to shake out everybody, liquidate all those degens finally, and then Boomtown.
I think so. But Boomtown, you mean like you're going to hit the 0.76, maybe overshoot it a little bit, and then some weird things happen is when you actually start seeing some weakness in Bitcoin dominance. Is that kind of what you're thinking? Yeah. It's been kind of weak anyway. You know, it's got this bearish engulf in Canada engulf like this 4 weeks over here, and it's got 5 weeks of this inside candles up here. Sure, the primary trend is up, you know, so after you're done consolidating, the move is going to be up, and certainly looks like the move is going to be up, but right slam into resistance here. I also don't know like what this, I want to show you something here too. I don't know what this means, but I was looking at the order block detector by Lux Algo, and I don't know like why you have like buy and sell order blocks for Bitcoin dominance, but it certainly looks like we've got some pretty strong resistance right up to the 0.76, doesn't it? It's yeah, that was pretty interesting. I don't know, like it's weird because this thing also has like different volume and things like that too. But anyway, I think we are hitting an area where it looks like I think we're probably going to be okay. I was even looking at Ethereum dominance, which again is a joke. You know, what is Ethereum dominance? We don't know what that is. But I was looking at a 2-day chart here, and I've been showing this Bollinger Band. It's been squeezing, and it touched the bottom. Doesn't mean that Bitcoin dominance is going to drop down. Not necessarily. Sometimes when you have a squeeze before the move up, you actually touch the bottom, and then you bounce up. And right now, it's kind of holding the bottom of the Bollinger Band here. It's still leaving us in a little bit of a suspense here in terms of what's going to happen next. But so far, it's still holding the low Bollinger Band here. And we'll see what happens after that. I was also looking at the Ethereum chart here by itself. And as I was looking at the Ichimoku, you can see how on the 2-day kind of touch, you know, the baseline here is trying to get back above here a little bit, maybe. But I just see it trying to break through the cloud here and trying to backtest some of the levels down here below after this recent breakout. I'm not really too worried about Ethereum. Certainly, it can drop a lot lower, you know, but overall, I think this breakout here.
20-week the 20-week moving average is at 2,200. What about that?
Yeah, it's also a little bit negative sloping here too, right? Sorry about the angry phase. I really shouldn't be that angry about Ethereum, but it's potentially coming back and touching the 2,200 range, and it's still a little bit negative sloping here. This is the best thing that can happen with Ethereum, where you break out above, where you still have a very negative sloping 20-week moving average, but it has done nothing to allow the 20-week moving average to be a little bit more flat here, so it can serve as a better support for you to actually go up, because you need time to digest this big giant move up here above with this nice trend reversing candle. So right now it's doing what is necessary to basically doing some technical repair before it can start doing nice boom boom town things. Right? Do you have an Ethereum chart, my man?
Yeah, I do have one of those Ethereum charts. Yeah, let me switch my L screeny. Let's see here.
You just say L screeny.
Yeah,
Like,
you know, it's
like
the
yeah,
the Spanish in me.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So the Gann chart, I actually, like a couple weeks ago, I did make a post on X about saying it was at resistance and to be cautious with it. And sure enough, that was when it was wicking above there, basically around the 2,800 zone. I'm like, yeah, it's probably going to get rejected, come back down to some levels. But what I'm watching below right now is how the week closes tomorrow, because I am watching this 200-week moving average, the purple line here, and that's at 24.41. So that would be ideal, right? Staying above that, because it has been basically sandwiched in between there. So I'm watching that tomorrow, 24.41. But if it closes below it, is that really going to be sad? No, not really, because they're just moving averages. They don't really mean too much. And like that 20 SMA on the Bollinger Band is still a little bit lower too. So it could just be in a little bit of a lower range first before breaking out. But, you know, this massive breakout is really legit. That was a big 38% candle, and it hasn't even retraced like hardly any of it. So this is a super bullish chart now, just waiting to break out. That's all it is, waiting to break out. So I don't know how long it's going to time, or how much time it's going to take. I do see a question like roughly how many more months until the XRP bull run. I mean, time is always the most difficult thing to predict, but I think, judging by my total chart here, we could be nearing that time, right? Maybe a little bit more down, a little bit more suffering there before some kind of recovery, but it could be something beautiful, something massive that we could just go down, get more liquidity, and then V bottom out of there and go. So I like this setup. There's nothing about any of these setups that I don't like. And actually, I just did a review on Patreon just showing that so many high time frame supports were touched today. So many of them. Like, even if I was just looking at H bar, actually, just randomly, And if you go to the monthly chart, it finally backtested the 50-month moving average again, right? That's the 1347, and it's holding. So it's just a giant breakout, giant backtest. Like this kind of looks a little bit like Doge too, if you think about it, really, right? The Dogecoin chart almost get to the 50-month moving average too. Like honestly, these charts are looking so beautiful, and I just don't understand the bearishness out there. It's like, why would you want to be giving up that support? But this is a classic mistakes. I see this all the time. Classic mistakes, but people never learn. They say, oh, when it dips lower, I'm going to buy. But when the dips finally come, they panic. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are giving up on Dogecoin. I can show my Dogecoin chart here. It's because it's been rough, you know? I mean,
Rough.
it's been extremely rough, Meow. And I was looking at this and I was like, okay, you know what? You're getting close to the 2-week Ichimoku cloud here. Might as well just touch it. And sure enough, it just touched it. It's like, you know, it's doing what is necessary to do what is necessary, I guess. And I think this move over here is a little bit different from this move over here, because this one over here was like basically a channel on the way down. This move over here is more parabolic on the way down. And when you have a more parabolic wave on the way down, when you try to recover, you don't just do a V shape like it did over here. You generally try to get back to a certain level. You still have all these resistance here that you need to get over, and you're going to end up getting rejected here for the first time. Just like if you look at a weekly chart here, you just look at Bollinger Band, you can see that whenever you have this big giant trend down, you're trying to break above, it's not like how it was over here. When it broke above, the 20-week moving average was relatively flat. Here, 20-week moving average is still relatively, you know, on the downtrend here. So it got rejected here, came down. You know, who knew how far it was going to go? Because on the way down here, they can keep on doing whatever it is that they want to do on low volume or on no volume here at all. Because if you're looking at the volume here in Coinbase, who is selling Doge? The answer is no one, right? It's just been like over here, it's been going down over here on no volume. And next thing you know, all it takes just some volume for you to pump up. And everybody's like, oh, Dogecoin's back. You know, next thing you know, it goes down on no volume here. And next thing you have a little tiny bit of volume and just pump it right up, right? And guess what? So far, over the last 5 weeks, we've been going down here on this really, really rough downtrend with no volume. Who's selling Dogecoin? Then this is on Binance. There's no volume. Nobody's selling Dogecoin, right? Like nobody's doing that. So who's selling it? I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of manipulation going on, low volume. Maybe they're trying to shake you out here before the next big move. That's certainly what the volume is telling me. So I'm not going to let Dogecoin to scare me. I just kept on buying Doge, actually. If you look at Shiba basically is just hitting this horizontal level over here. You know, like this, I don't even need to draw anything. You can see it's basically backtesting a breakout level. It's been backtesting a breakout level here for months and months and months and months and months now, and it's still back to this level over here. If this level holds, I think good things going to come, right? Who's selling Shiba? Let me see here if I can look at Coinbase volume. And nobody is selling Shiba. So all these moves over here are false moves, and all it takes just a little bit of volume and pumpy before things just get reversed. And I'm not really that scared by the price action here, because I think they're really happening on meaningless volume and they can get reversed fairly quickly. You know what's bullish? Pepe. You know why Pepe is bullish? Is one of those is actually, you know, very similar to Ethereum, is trying to hold a 20-week moving average. Is basically, you know, break out in a little bit of a back test. Granted, is a little bit negative sloping, is trying to, you know, hold on to it. But this is not a bearish thing for it to do something like this, right? And then on top of that, let's see who's selling Pepe on Coinbase. Who's selling Pepe on Coinbase? Not many people. Not many frogs. But the entire downtrend over here is on declining volume. Again, all it takes just a little volume here to just kind of reverse it all. Even Fartcoin. You want to talk about Fartcoin?
Oh, yeah.
I know you want to talk about Fartcoin. It was down like 10% today, or like 8 or 9 or 10% today, when the rest of the cryptocurrency market was actually holding okay. And as soon as everything else crashed, Fartcoin actually bounced back up. I don't know if anybody was paying attention to Fartcoin besides me, but it seems like Fartcoin is the leading indicator here. So I was originally thinking, oh, you know, like Fartcoin, they're going to manipulate it and going to go down a lot further. I even have a GAN over here. I was like, man, this GAN had like some pretty decent market symmetry. Probably end up come back down here to the arc here, and it still might, at some point. But so far, it looks like it actually led the recovery here tonight with a very nice wick over here so far. And on the 2-day, I was kind of looking at the 2-day, and I was wondering whether or not it's one of those things where it kind of just like how over here overshot the 2-day Ichimoku cloud and just kind of went range bound. And I wonder whether or not this is one of those things that's just like overshot the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud here. I don't know. I just think that this is possible that it might hold. If it doesn't, that's fine too. But I just find it to be pretty interesting how Farcoin was down a lot lower before the rest of the stuff crashed, and since the rest of the crash actually end up recovering here a little bit. So I don't know what to think about that, but interesting observation nevertheless. Do you have any other coins you want to talk about?
Yeah, like somebody brought up his link, still bullish, and I just wanted to share the Linky Link chart.
Sure, Linky Link.
Yeah. Chain Link, is it still bullish? Well, just looking at no indicators at all. What do you see? I mean, it's higher highs, higher lows since, the beginning of time, really, right? And the trend is higher. And also, you don't even really need any TA. You can just draw like a line from basically previous resistance flipping to support, right? This is something that, in my opinion, is what a lot of charts look like. And this is beautiful to me. So I think this is a good development for Link. Also, I want to just point out what's really happening from this recent bottom here on log scale. We can go from the bottom to the top. It's the 50% fib too, right? It's just getting some liquidity below it. So 1214. So that is something I'm watching. Also, it was a big zone. Previous support, flip to resistance for a couple months, breakout, backtest, and another backtest. So this could be, I guess, kind of a deformed head and shoulders, maybe. Kat, do you think that's a deformed head and shoulders?
You're a deformed head. Wait, I'm sorry, what? You think like a, yeah.
Like
Here,
an inverted, like
right
inverted. Here is a shoulder,
Yeah.
a head, and a shoulder, kind of, maybe.
It could mean that the dominant right arm is stronger than the left. I wonder why that would be the case.
Yeah, maybe they're right-handed, right? Yeah.
Maybe they use it excessively when their wives are not around. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
that's a possibility.
It could be, or it could be forming like a little bit of a Adam and Eve bottom kind of thing. I can totally see that too. Where it's got a really sharp bottom, but the sharp recovery was hitting resistance, and it just needed another Eve bottom to kind of correct the technicals, so that it can go up higher. So maybe more weeks are required to have this chart being repaired, but I still think that this is still a higher low as far as I'm concerned. So
it is. And also, how many weeks in a row? Like 1, 2, 3, like 6 weeks in a row of red. That's not super common on this chart, except for on a super like bearish situation. But we're not in a super bearish situation right now. This is just right now a back test. And also, I have the Gann square right here. There's another back test of a 45-degree angle for the second time here. Right. This is a nice looking chart. Right. This orange level, very, very important. It was the breakout zone right here, and then a back test. Then it kind of like flipped it to resistance and tried to battle it for a very long time, over a year. And then it finally broke out. And now it's just right in this 45-degree angle. So this is also still a nice looking development, in my opinion. So yeah, I think the $12 range has likelihood of holding. We can also see that the moving averages are kind of getting in the way as resistance. That 200 week, it did start to close below last week. So that kind of led to this little flush we're seeing now. But in my opinion, I bought more, right? I bought more just recently before the live stream. And I think it's going higher, right? I think it can just continue to build a base, maybe a few weeks, like what Kat was saying, to repair itself. But, if you don't leverage yourself, you have nothing but time. Nothing but time.
Yeah, and also I just checked the volume for Chainlink on like Binance and Coinbase. Like nobody's selling it. There's no selling volume here, even though it's been going down straight. So we got a super chat for Jasmy. Thank you so much, Virginia, for providing us what we need, which is emotional support through super chat. What you're seeing, same thing. There's not really any volume here on the way down, so it's a false move. I think technically it makes sense because it really what this big giant move up here was. I got exhausted. You can see, even though it's been forming higher highs, It's just a slight higher high here, and next thing you know, it broke down. And when crypto breaks down, it breaks down hard. And whenever it ends up breaking down below the 0.382, it logically went down to the liquidity zone here at the 0.236. And it's been holding that very, very decently, right? It had a bullish engulfing candle, and it pushed it all the way back up to the 0.382 here. But you basically had a little bit of a bearish backtest here initially. So you're not going to necessarily push through for the first time. That's generally not how it happens, because when you're trying to get back up above, you're going to have these negative sloping 20-week moving averages to push you down. You're going to have, a cloud above to get through. So you're going to need some additional time and some additional energy for you to really build up more technicals before challenging that again. As a result, you have a low volume selling of Jasmy going down by 6 weeks. And it's been extremely brutal for people who are holding it. But when I see that it's been going down on no volume, I think this is easily reversible. Kind of like here, like where you have 4 weeks going down, all it takes just one candle to reverse it all. Sometimes it be like that. Sometimes it just takes a high volume candle for you to reverse some damage that was done through like low volume move. And the entire time when it was going down is also on low volume. So I'm not really that worried about it. I think what happens is probably just like Chainlink maybe forming a little bit of a atom and maybe a little bit of Eve bottom here. So we might be talking about another couple months of sideways and no action for Jasmy. But I do think that we're going to end up challenging the 0.382 here again. And I do think that that would be the second time we're doing that. And we generally have a better chance of breaking through. This is how Adam and Eve double bottom generally means, and because the downtrend has no volume, I think that whenever it's done with its shenanigans, I think it's gonna be just fine. Matt, do you have a Jasmy chart?
Let me check here if I do have
Jasmy. Yeah. I mean, also, while you're checking, I also have a Avalanche AVAX chart. Also have again here. It's just basically hitting my 45-degree angle. So nothing is broken here for a lot of different charts. I agree with Matt. I think Chainlink is also fine. I do have again here, but it's kind of in no man's land right now. I do think that it's got some pretty decent market symmetry. It's just simply having a hard time breaking about this arc up here. Probably need another chance. If it breaks out, I do have a target up here in the 120s to 140s. I think it's possible, but I sound delusional right now because nobody takes me seriously because I'm a cat meow. Do you have a Jasmy chart?
Yeah. So the Jasmy chart that I have is it called that crash right here, and actually when I saw it break this arc, I mentioned on my Patreon that it was probably going to go straight down to that arc or that angle, that blue angle, to retest it, and sure enough, that's exactly what it did. So now it broke out, it backtested it, it didn't backtest it. So can it go back down to backtest it around the 1 penny or the 0.009? Yes, that is a possibility. There's another thing I was looking at too, also the inverse fib from the bottom here to the top, and we can see that there's a lot of confluence at that 618. So it could want to go back down there if it cannot reclaim that 50% again. So something to think about for Jasmy. I think perhaps a little bit lower first before higher.
And that would go along with the concept of maybe trying to form like an Adam and Eve type bottom, which would make sense. So yeah, possible. It could always go down lower before higher, but if it keeps on going down on no volume at all, then I think the lower it goes, the better its reward ratio is going to be. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. ADA, do you have anything for Cardano?
Yeah, Cardano.
Charles Hushkinson.
So
go for it.
my 382 is 60 cents, and just go to the moving averages just to show you what it hit. It hit the 100-week moving average, and it's getting liquidity below the 60% fib. So it did the same thing before, and it already backtested the arc a few times. So that's not really a requirement to go down that far. So we could be at support right now. Right, for ADA, it actually looks pretty decent. I should open up 80x position leverage long. Just do it, right?
What?
Just joking.
What? Do you even like cigars? I mean, I don't. Yeah. Anyway,
only when I 40x long.
Switch to the monthly and turn off and tick off all your close-in indicators. You can see that right now. How many inside candles do we have right now? We got 7 inside candles to that big monthly candle. You know,
Yeah.
like just look at that. It's basically forming a giant bull flag.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
it's at the 100-week moving average right there, right them there. This is a beautiful chart, right? Anybody that's bearish on ADA is probably because they don't like Charles Hoskinson's. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he does have a little bit of like a yellow fever and Asian fetish, but I'm okay with it. You know, because
Yeah.
yeah, it happens. It happens. I understand that you know, Asian males and females are extremely attractive. So, sorry, I got this right. Did she even talk about XRP yet?
Did I? I don't think I talked about it now.
What?
What? Oh my god.
Not
Yeah.
possible.
Okay. All right. Fine. I'll do XRP and I'll show my daily chart GAN that I built for it. And we're almost there, right? We're almost at the arc again. So just maybe a little bit lower. It could be fine, right? But as you can see, my linear scale GAN here, it's been following the symmetry very, very perfectly, right, throughout time. And essentially, I think it's just going to stay in this range right here. Just stay in this range between basically 195 and this 240 zone. So I think there's no cause for concern. Actually, even if you drew like a line across, it's basically holding this $2 zone beautifully, right? Every time it gets down to that $2 zone, it's been a bounce territory. So I think this has potential to stabilize in this zone, maybe a little bit lower, like everything else could go a little bit lower, but at this point, it doesn't even matter, right? I think that's just even more opportunity for accumulation. Maybe Cat can buy more instead of Fartcoin. I don't know.
I'm not sure yet. I mean, I wonder if Jamie Dimon might look more into using Fartcoin as, you know, rather than XRP, because XRP has its chance for years and he just hasn't chosen XRP. So I wonder whether or not Fartcoin is going to be it. But
yeah, breaking news: Jamie Dimon chooses Fartcoin.
that would be like his lasting legacy. That'd be awesome. Did you do HBAR yet?
Yeah, I showed it. It's like Doge, the 50-month moving average.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I guess somebody asked about Tao.
Oh yeah, I do have a Talgan. A Talgan? A Talgan?
Taugen. Yeah. All. Yeah. Anyway. Ooh. Okay. Yeah.
So it's trying to stabilize on top, but this is actually kind of the first back test since it broke out in May. So I think there is still a good chance of closing above it tomorrow. This could just be a liquidity grab underneath. But if not, there is this 295, 382 right below it, which has been a very solid support zone and resistance zone in the past. So it's the same as others, right? We can even put on the moving averages as well. Take a look there. And or the Bollinger Band, it's the 20-week moving average is really at that same level as well with the ARC. So so far, it's just a breakout back test, getting liquidity below, but we'll see how it closes the week. And my goal is maybe stay above 332, 335 would be the best case scenario.
Very nice. We also have multiple people asking about MicroStrategy. There's some fundamental question whether or not they've joined the Mag 8. I do not know the answer to that, although currently it seems like Michael's strategy seemed to be working out pretty well for Michael, so perhaps so. And opinions on MSTR leverage ETFs. I don't really have an opinion on that because I don't really like to use too many leverage ETFs. I just stick with CoinL, and that's really the one that I use because of decay and things like that. But I think if you're expecting chop, then get the hell out of those leverage ETFs. But you're expecting it to break out, then be in it. That's really the only thing I have to say about it. So, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, MicroStrategy, like we mentioned at the very beginning of the show, it kind of looks like Total, where it went to backtest the conversion line and it did close above. See, the conversion line is at 369.67. It closed the week at 369.70. So good development, right? But probably just like Total, The conversion line might be going up next week, so it could maybe open a new candle below it. That could be pretty scary, right, Kat? I don't know.
Yeah, looks like there's a nice cloud underneath and the 1.4 and 4 underneath to maybe catch it. So I think it will probably be fine.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because we're going to be eliminating this candle right here, so that's going to change the math on the conversion line to go up quite a bit. So it could be opening a new candle underneath it, which could be scary for some people. Like, oh my God, it's losing that support. But who knows? Maybe Bitcoin could have a big rally tomorrow, and then things just open up and gap up on Monday. Who knows? We'll see.
yeah, I just want to applaud you for not only speaking Chinese but also do math. That's pretty incredible.
I'm the honorary Asian. Okay?
Don't try to like. Yeah. Anyway, I was thinking like don't move your eyebrows up or anything like that.
I can do the accent though, the Asian accent. I'm allowed. I'm legally allowed.
You're legally allowed to have your ass kicked. So anyway, well, what do you think about Coinbase? What if how come Coinbase is so bullish when the whole cryptocurrency market is so bearish? Like, what's going on with that?
Well, I think it's telling a story, right? I think the story is being told that Coinbase is showing that altcoins, stable coins, there's going to be a market for it. There's going to be a market for all of that, and it's going to be a huge market. So my Coinbase chart on my linear GAN, it had a breakout, right? It had a breakout above the angle and above the arc, and that's really the 288 level. So this actually has potential to stabilize on top of this zone now and get more bullish. So people that are expecting it to collapse now, maybe not, right? It's a breakout. And usually when we see breakouts, there's continuation. Like right here, it broke out above the arc, continuation. Right here, it broke out above the arc, continuation. It just got rejected at resistance. So we're not at resistance yet, but it's coming. 318, 320, right? It is coming. So, I mean, I did make a video on Friday yesterday about it too. That has more detail. You guys can take a look at that. And it's on YouTube. It's on my channel. So basically, we'll see. But this is, in my opinion, showing that there's going to be a huge market for stablecoins, huge market for altcoins, and it's one of the biggest players in America for altcoins. So if you're bullish on Coinbase, I think it only makes sense to be bullish on altcoins.
Bold statement. No, actually, it makes complete sense. I just don't know why it doesn't make sense to the general public. But yeah, and this is a fundamental argument too, which makes me feel a little bit dirty about it. But I think it's it makes sense. So, well, what do you think? Oh man, you're switching back to me.
Switching back to you. I wanted to
go ahead.
Nothing else to add? No, I want to see what you want to show on your.
Not much. I mean, I think MSTR basically the same thing. Like either the cloud or the 1.4 and 4. I have like basically the same numbers that you do. It's kind of stuck in like no mouse land right now, as far as I'm concerned when it comes to fib. I think it wants to get up to 1.618. It's just building up energy to try to get up there, but it's been kind of flat here. It can always break down. And if it does, then I think 340 would be a good zone. I think the cloud would be a good zone, and you already had a bullish cross here. Like it's overall, if you just look at the morphology, it looks like a really nice cup and handle continuation pattern. It looks like it wants to get back up to 1.618. That's all I really want to say about that. And the volatility that Bitcoin is exhibiting, and I was just kind of telling you at the beginning of the show, it does seem like it's the volatility that's needed to catapult Bitcoin higher. If that's the case, and MicroStrategy actually looks like it's doing a pretty bullish formation here, then I think the next move is going to be up, but it's never going to be straight up. It's always going to be some scares. There's always going to be some narratives, in the Middle East and whatnot. Which honestly, at this point, I'm not even sure. Like the Middle East stuff has been going for so long anyway, like ever since I was born, and 2 years ago. So that's kind of what I think about MicroStrategy too. On a monthly here, there's nothing really bearish about MicroStrategy, because if you put the Ichimoku, you can see the conversion line has been serving as support during the entire bull run. We never really convincingly closed even below the baseline here for more than a month. So as far as I'm concerned, the conversion line is pointing up and price is above it. further bullish continuation, right? You see how when it's becoming resistance here, no further bullish continuation, bearish cross, false breakout, breakdown, back to the cloud. We're not seeing that here. We're seeing a very, very different behavior here. And this thing wants to keep going up. So I'm going to lean more bullish on it. The only other thing I have to say is, I think we can probably keep this show to maybe close to 7 o'clock, maybe do a couple more requests and we'll just end it. But Coinbase is bullish. I was talking about how whenever it get above the 0.786 and above the conversion line here on the monthly here, it probably will end up being a launching pad for it to go higher. I guess we still have a final boss here to 0.86 here. So, but overall is bullish. So if Coinbase is bullish, I just have a hard time. I agree with Matt that the entire cryptocurrency market is just going to crash. I don't really see that. I see the others chart being very similar to the Coinbase chart if you kind of line them up side by side over here. But
Before
the
it broke
others,
out.
yeah, exactly. But the others, no, sorry about the fart coin. Let me get rid of the fart coin here.
Obsessed.
let me get rid of the fart coin. If I take out the Ichimoku, if I just line them side by side here, they're basically the same charts. Like it's a big giant cup and it's a big giant handle. It's a big giant cup and it's a big giant handle here, except that Coinbase had broken out here before the cryptocurrency market cap here, excluding the top 10 coins, has broken out. That hasn't happened yet, but it has happened for Coinbase. I think it's just lagging. And if that's the case, if this is either this is a false breakout for Coinbase and is crashing to zero, or that the cryptocurrency market cap is lagging behind and that it's going to catch up. And based on the formation, based on what we're looking at, and based on increasing global liquidity overall, because we can actually track these things, based on increasing global liquidity overall, it seems like we're probably lagging behind, and it seems like altcoins will catch up. That's pretty much all I have to say about that. I'm going to talk about Galaxy. I'm going to jump back to Galaxy is a stock that I did a video on a few days ago. Is trying to bring about the 0.786 here. It's very, very similar, right? Big cup and a nice handle. And you got resistance level over here. It just needs to break above and it's going to go a lot higher. I can show other indicators, but so far I'm bullish. I'm accumulating. The longer it's stuck underneath 0.786, the happier I am, to be honest. So I don't know how long it's going to get stuck here, but stuck here for a couple months. Very, very happy cat. So there are a couple other requests. I don't know, Matt, do you want to get through them or not? ENA, Syrup, or AIP, I don't know. Matt Johnson, I look at AIP here real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll shoot back to you to finish up the other stuff here. AIP, higher highs, higher lows. Very nice Morningstar look here. Got a hammer here to start with. You look at the Bollinger Band on the monthly, reclaiming the 20-month moving average. Got a little wick up here above. Still have some issues trying to break about this horizontal zone over here. But overall, if you're finding some pretty decent support here, probably end up gravitating up here to the upper Bollinger Band here eventually. Maybe looking at Ichimoku, you see how you're also getting some resistance up here above, but you're holding a base. If you can reclaim the base, it's probably going to get up here to reclaim the conversion here. And I think it looks like it wants to get up higher based on what I'm seeing because of this move over here. Finding support down here below, overall higher highs, higher lows. It just looks like a channel on the way up. So I actually favor this stock here. It doesn't look too bad. If I do fit levels, you see how it got perfectly rejected at 0.5, how last time it got perfectly rejected at 0.618. And I think it's just a matter of trying to get back above these different levels over here. You can see how it backtests at 0.236 here almost perfectly, right? It's just stuck in a range. But overall, higher highs, higher lows, I feel positive that it's probably going to re-challenge 0.5 here pretty soon over the next few months and then re-challenge 0.6 here again. All right, Matt.
Yeah, I actually just did the math on MSTR, and it looks like the conversion line is going to be moving up to like the 392 zone.
Oh, you look at you and your math. Yeah. You
so that's going to be
too?
that's going to be way 可以啊，当然可以，我非常喜欢 sushi。
你非常喜欢 sushi 哦
Yeah.
哦，那你 那你觉得那个MSTR 会怎么样？你做的那些数学，
我很害怕，我很害怕，我要吓死了，吓死了。
不用害怕嘛，我们都是朋友，这儿没有
OK，
别人。
别
Anyway, yeah.
别捧我啊，别捧我。
Well, with that said, goodbye, everybody. No, sorry, what are you saying? So you think that it's going to open next week below it?
Well, obviously, unless there's a gap up at 400 and it's at 369 right now, so that's basically a huge difference.
Well,
Huge.
that's not good. That means it's going to end up. I'm going to show so people know what the heck we're talking about. MSTR. So you're saying that it's going to open at 400 somewhere around there?
392 or something. Yeah, the
392.
conversion line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So currently we're at so currently we're at 369.70. Well, some would say 369.69 because it's really close to it. But currently, if we end up opening, unless if tomorrow we have a gap up, or not necessarily even a gap up, but it was just well, I guess it had to be a gap up. Then we would have the conversion line up here and price down underneath, and that could free fall down to the cloud or to 1.4 and 4 is possible. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it could be. Right, and because also that that 340 level is still there. Still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's sad. I don't
Does
like
that mean Bitcoin wants to retest below 100,000? I don't know.
I don't know. It's possible. What the heck is ENA? Guessing it's not a stock. Yeah, okay. This is Athena, not Athena. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just range. It's like range bound. I don't really have a whole lot to say about this. I don't have any technical analysis for this. It probably just doesn't have enough history. A lot of crypto look kind of like this. If you have a longer history, that it probably, if it was existing before, it would probably be down here. And right now, it's just kind of range bound here. So it's near the bottom of the range. I suppose it's good, but I don't really have anything like technically to say about it. There's really no trend here. And then finally, I think there's one more syrup for our Canadian friends, Maple Finance. If I can get my fingers right. Oh, very nice. Higher highs, higher lows. This actually looks like a pretty decent chart here. So let's take a look at a couple of things here. If I use this big giant wake up here and I draw a fib retracement here, you see how it's hitting 0.618 here. It's getting rejected here a little bit. It's usually a pretty big level that it needs to get above, before it can really truly go up to the next levels. And the other thing I usually like to look at when it comes to a chart like this is whether or not we have some exhaustion here, and I do see a little bit of tiredness over here. So it might take some time to really break above the 0.618 because you got a little bit of bearish divergence here on the weekly. And that's really all I got for you.
Noise. I'll do one more. That PER. Did you already do that one? PARXF? No.
I don't think so.
Yeah. There's not really much to it. All that I'm seeing is this rejection here at the cloud for the first time in a very long time, right? Since basically April of 2024. And is it going to go back down all the way to what number was that? The I don't even know. 16 or 17. Well, yeah, the 50-week moving average is around 1021. So it does have that potential to go lower, right? But is it going to get back up there to the 16s? Maybe. I mean, the 200-week moving average is at 16 right there. So it's going to take a while to get up there, maybe. But this is kind of a good development because it has not been above this 50-week moving average since 2023. So I think it has potential now. So as long as it stays above 1021, it has the potential to get into the cloud and get more bullish. And I see another question. What's Coin's blue line? I think he means the conversion line there. And it's way down there at 241. And it actually had a bullish cross too.
Yeah.
But the monthly is actually very nice. It's right there at 246, and it was a launch pad.
Yeah, you got 3 Caucasian privates going on too. So yeah, these are very, very nice privates. So somebody asked a question: do we gamble on Oscar or Fartcoin? I want everybody who's listening to this live stream right now, either on X or on YouTube, I want you to log onto X, and I want you to find this account called the Long Investor, and I want you to ask him that question.
Yes, please.
Because I want every single one of you. Well, if you don't want to get blocked by him, then don't, but because he blocks people. But if you don't mind getting blocked, and if you want to really find it out, I want you all to as a part of the community. I'm curious about his thoughts. Please go to his X and comment. If you're on his Patreon, I also want you to ask it on his Patreon as well, because I think that's a very, very important question. I don't know the answer because I'm not smart enough, but he's the smartest guy on X. So please ask him.
Very, very, very true. Yes. If anybody knows that answer, it's him. It's him.
I urge you.
But what I want to know, Kat, are we going lower or are we going higher? I mean, what's going to happen? Is MSTR opening below the conversion line next week going to be detrimental? I mean, what's going to happen, Kat? I need to know.
I mean, I just showed you, if you bounce off the cloud or 1.4 and 4 down to like the 340 range.
That means lower first.
Yeah, that means lower first, but sometimes you have to do the foreplay before you get what you want. So you have to make, if it has to get a little bit dirtier, then so be it. Life does not, how do you say that? Life does not start and stop at your convenience, or whatever Walter said to Donnie. Anyway, yeah.
Fair enough. You heard it here.
I don't have a whole lot of things to say. I mean, if we keep on being here, there are going to be more chart requests. There's no technical analysis for Circle. There's just not enough candles for it. So I think to predict what Circle is going to do is pointless. I generally like to stay away from IPOs because I just don't have enough to chart. And generally they are a liquidity grab. If you talk about the fundamentals, like Circle valuation versus Coinbase valuation, blah blah blah. I just don't like to talk too much about IPOs in general. So
yeah, me too.
Yes, please ask him about Baidu, Neo, Fartcoin, and Oscar. I really
Nike too. Nike
as well, and also Pfizer. I think that's his top 10 or top 20. I want to find out what he thinks about all of that. So. Yeah, he's a smart guy. He's extremely smart. I can't stress it enough. He knows what he's talking about. He knows why. So please ask him. All right, I'm done, Matt. I think we're the longer we stay here, the more requests can come. So
all right, guys.
That was fun. Thanks for coming on, as a surprise.
Yeah, and we'll be here with Luca tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern.
That is true. We're going to talk more about altcoins with him, and it's going to be a lot more subdued. We're not gonna, we'll be nice.
We'll be nice.
Yes. Yeah. And nice. Yes. And subdued.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right. Yeah. We'll see you then. See you tomorrow.
Thanks, Matt. Bye.